Welcome to the Cultivate Beauty Podcast. I am your host, Kelly Torrance, and this is a show where we come together and have some honest conversations about what it's really like to work, grow, thrive, and survive in the beauty industry. My guests and topics are all people and things related to what's happening right now in our salons, behind the chair, in the treatment room, in our beauty schools, in our training facilities at a state board level and beyond. I'm going to be covering all scopes of beauty. So if you're ready to help me cultivate a fun-loving, passionate group of informed professionals, then please sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Yes. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Cultivate Beauty Podcast. Today I am joined by Miss Kat. She's here to talk about all kinds of fun things, branding and taking pictures and building content and what might be working now that wasn't working before and vice versa, and just to kind of help us out. So without further ado, Miss Kat, welcome.
Yes,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
joining
Thank
me.
you. Oh, thank you for having me.
I have been trying to get her on the show since I started this. So the day's finally here.
I am excited.
Got her.
Yes, and this is actually my very first podcast.
Dun, dun, dun.
Extra excited. Yes, and you've actually been along on kind of my content journey even before I started photography. I remember following your beauty page and Soulshine XO and that whole journey, and now we're here. Crazy.
Wild. So, Ms. Kat, please introduce yourself. Tell us, what do you do? How long have you been doing it? And how did you get here?
Yes. Well, again, thank you for having me. I am Kat Davison Photography and Content. Over the past year, I just hit my 1 year mark behind the camera. I've primarily been focusing on the photography aspect and just managing my own content. But the goal is to really have content plans and be able to help people with their content as well.
Content. Why does that word just make me like...
I know, but that's kind of what we're going to talk about. That's important, right? Like that mindset shift. And if you have to call it something else, call it something else.
I know. It's picture day.
And you know what's funny is you're the third person this week to say that word. Like particularly that word gets me. And I am very interested to have some feedback on what about that word.
It feels like a chore.
Right.
It feels like something on the to-do list. And for me anyway, like unless I have a really fun idea I'm excited about doing, it feels like a chore. It feels like it's something I just have to do. I have to come up with something. I have to find something to post. So it's like, unless I have a really something silly or fun or
that you're
I'm actually looking forward to putting together. But then my other thing is, what these algorithms, is it even a real thing? Like, or is it just somebody back there being like, haha, that worked yesterday.
Oh my
gosh. It's not going to work today.
So opinions, right? I'm sure everyone will have a different opinion.
Oh, yes.
But if you're asking me how I personally run my content, they're going to be mad because I don't actually use like the algorithm or anything like that. I will use tips and tricks on how to find maybe trending audio or trending ideas, but I don't really pay attention to the back analytics of Instagram.
Yeah. I don't either, mostly because I feel like when I have tried to pay attention to that, by the time I get something out, those rules don't apply anymore. And I'm like,
and you're already
3 views.
Overwhelmed. You already don't want to do it. So why put another task on doing the education and the backlogging before making the content? I really just try to do stuff that excites me too. Mm-hmm. But I understand that I love content. For me, or creating visuals, right? Yeah. For some people that might be painting or lashes or starting a podcast. But I just really enjoy it. So I'm spoiled and that makes it easier for me.
That's why we need brains like yours to work with brains like mine. That's why this works so well.
Yes.
So before we dive too deep into all like the creative stuff, how did you get into photography in the first place?
Yeah, so I was kind of looking for something. I had like a mental health t-shirt business that I was running on Instagram. I've always had a 9-to-5, but I was really looking for something that just excited me. And then I started tagging along with my sister, or my husband's sister, on photo shoots, just doing behind the scenes actually for her.
Okay.
I was doing kind of a little bit of the content creation there. And I just loved it. Like, loved seeing her visions come to life. And she focuses more on wedding photography and couples, but even following her around on that and seeing her pose them and the mist and all the things that go into it behind the scenes really excited me. So I asked her, and she was actually kind enough to lend me her first camera.
Wow.
Which, if you're in the business realm, you know how like wonderful it is to have a mentor and like somebody to ask.
Yes.
So she really took me under her wing, and here we are a year later, which is absolutely crazy to say. August 15th will be officially 1 year for Kat Davison Photography.
A year. And I feel like you've done a lot this first year, though. Like, you've done so much. So if you started off kind of tagging along with somebody who does more of the bridal industry stuff, how did you get into doing what you're doing now, which is not bridal stuff? It's more commercialized. It's more working with small businesses. How did that happen?
I had been in graphic design before.
Okay.
So I had worked with businesses previously in that realm, but I knew that I didn't want to work with brides. They were scary sometimes, especially before being.
I mean, you just got married. You were just a bride. You know, the stress does things to people.
And not everybody, right? But those are pictures that you are going to look at forever. Your family is going to look at. And the biggest thing about wedding photography that scared me is you can't pose. Like, it's gone. When they go down the aisle, that first kiss.
Right. You can't be like, oh, wait.
It's
3 steps backwards. The lighting wasn't right.
Yeah. So I have an immense amount of respect for wedding photographers. But for me, I just love fashion and beauty. And everyone that I met in that realm was really excited about it, like really passionate. I didn't meet a lash artist that didn't want to do it, or a boutique owner that didn't want to do it.
Right.
And that's kind of what pushed me to just want to be in that industry.
Yeah. I think small business owners, we have a different mindset. Like, we're in business because we love what we do, because owning a small business, running a small business, like, if you don't have a passion for what you're doing, you're not going to be willing to put up with half the stuff you have to deal with as a business owner. So yeah, I can totally see how it's just a different experience when you're working with somebody who's super passionate and excited versus somebody who might be stressed out over their wedding day.
Yes.
And all the pressure to get things right the first time because there's no redos. Yeah, I can totally see how there's a big difference.
And I love having like a vision in my head, like a mental Pinterest board, and figuring that out and it coming to life. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it's very Pinteresty, and you're like, well, that didn't come out like that. But
sometimes things play out better in your head than like in real life.
Yes, absolutely. But you always learn something, I think, in those scenarios.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I feel like every scenario, there's always a learning experience. But it's when you're in those real challenging moments where you're like, how do I make this work? That you like learn something new and you've got a new tool in your pocket for the next time.
Yes. I think every photo shoot I learn something still. So I don't think that'll ever change.
Now, do you prefer going into people's businesses, or do you prefer more of like a studio setting where you have a little bit more control over the vision?
That depends on what they're looking for. And that's a really big reason I enforce a consultation call. I know a lot of people like just being able to go on and book with a photographer, especially people that don't want to chat on the phone.
But there's pre-planning involved.
Yeah. And I totally get the anxiety behind hopping on a phone call. So I was really back and forth, but that helps me decide that. Do we need a studio session, or do you want something that you can use online, showing your portfolio, active shots? So I don't know. I'm a sucker for both. I think fashion I love in studio, but when it comes to beauty, seeing you guys do what you do, live action shoots are my best.
Yeah. Now, how did you first kind of get into working with beauty industry folks?
So my very first photo shoot, Loretta set up for me, and I tagged along. She had the model all set, and it was Sam from Bonita Beauty.
Okay.
And I knew that she did lashes, but I never had my lashes done, never had brows or anything like that. And I was kind of like, wow, that's an interesting world.
She has beautiful lash work too.
Yeah. But she did a fashion shoot for me. It wasn't actually beauty. And then I just kind of started thinking and posted on Instagram, started messaging people, hey, can I come in and just give this a shot? And there was a girl she was out in Sanger, and she did hair extensions, and she was just really welcoming and said, yeah, come on in, take pictures, and loved it. Loved the salon space. But I think a big thing for that was people just saying yes, because I was new and was like, can I just come in and play with my camera? And a lot of people didn't message back. And that's just starting anything. But the few people that did really, really changed my route. And then Selfie Ready was the other one that kind of
You just did a fashion show with them last night?
Yeah,
Oh my
last
gosh.
night was a fashion show. It was amazing. She's just been a real girl's girl and showed me that the fashion and beauty industry didn't have to be scary.
Right.
Like I had an idea of what I thought it was.
Yeah.
And it has not at all been that.
Well, that's good.
So.
That's good. Yeah, our industry can be intimidating. For sure.
I feel bad for you guys because I feel like photographers too. It's different, right?
Yeah.
Because as friendly as you want to be, this is your business,
right.
and it is a little competitive.
Yeah.
But with the beauty stuff, I just get to hop in and
yeah.
see all the pretty stuff and leave. So
yeah, and I feel a lot of our industry professionals, we like being able to showcase our work. So it's
what I've learned for you guys is to get it when you're in the middle of working.
Yeah.
Like to stop and add a whole nother duty to what you're already doing. Yeah. So it's been fun to get in there and get those shots.
Yeah, some of the services are lengthy. So it's like, yeah, you're going to come and take pictures, but I'm going to be with this client for like 2 hours. So.
I'll actually never forget you. I did a live beauty shoot for you, and I was packing up to leave, and we were just chatting, and your next client was coming in. And you just finished lashes and a couple piercings. And it was just back to back, and I never really realized that, especially lash artists, are there for 2 hours, stand up, get a quick break, and back. So that was eye-opening and a newfound respect for you ladies, too. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it can be exhausting when you offer lots of different services that require different setups because it's a whole nother mind. Like every service we offer is a different mindset we have to be in on top of, depending on the client, what mindset we have to be in for that client because every client has a different need, even if they're getting the same service. So yeah, it's exhausting. I'll go home after like 7 appointments and just be so brain dead.
Yeah. And then you don't want to do your content. No. I totally understand it, but that's the reality. And I think that's what everybody's doing, right? Yeah. Not just you. So that is important because you guys are tired and running a business and you still have to clean and stock and inventory and all the
We're tired. We're just out here tired.
That's part of what I want to showcase, though. Like I think it's important for your clients to know, of course, this is a luxury service and we don't want them to feel like they're a burden or anything like that. Yeah. But knowing that you don't just show up, stick on the lashes and leave. It's not what it is.
There's a whole lot of behind the scenes for every client. But again, if you're not passionate about what you do, like you're not going to want to switch that mindset. I feel like I have multiple personalities because of all the different hats that have to be worn throughout the day.
Yeah.
But good thing I love what I do.
I think the good thing about content being pushed aside, though, is prioritizing, though, right? And when it comes to keeping a business functioning and going, that's usually social media is usually one of those things that you can push back. And for business owners, at the end of the day, if you need that extra 10 minutes just to sit in silence, that's respectable too. Yeah. So it's finding that balance on how do I manage my social media presence and life.
So what kind of advice would you have for maybe somebody just starting out and they're trying to figure out how to prioritize what, but also knowing that in today's world, one of the biggest ways to get our names out there is on social media and some type of content. Like what kind of advice would you have from a photographer standpoint, a creator standpoint for somebody kind of just starting their beauty business?
I know it's silly and you probably don't want to hear it, but the mindset shift is really important. And for me, it came with, I was probably one of those last generations that had curvy and Mary Kay salesmen that came to the door and all the door hangers that you have on there. And I remember thinking as a kid, like, I'm going to have to do that. I'm going to have to walk around and put door hangers on every single door. And now it's crazy that I don't have to. Like I can just click and post and the information is out there. Yeah. So I try really hard to keep that in my
this or knocking door to door.
Yeah, really. And then the other thing is, personally, I have a 9-to-5 and this is my part-time business. But it's a passion project and it's I get to, not I have to. So if we're lucky enough to own our own business in this crazy time, pouring just that little extra into it. But again, take care of yourself. That's something I want, the balance. And there are apps and stuff to help. So I think having set time for creating is helpful. If you have even just an hour of the week and you create 3 videos, that's 3 more videos than you wouldn't have if you didn't set that time aside.
Yeah, what I found is really helpful is kind of doing like the batch content thing where it's like, okay, I know I've got this gap in my day. What can I do to just have like, I have a little folder in my phone that's called content.
Yay, love the organization.
And yes, and it's like, it can just be like, here's a picture of my inventory wall. And then I think of something cute to say or a little funny saying maybe I saw online, and like I put that together and just kind of have it in my content folder for days where I'm just like, I'm spent. I can't be creative right now.
Right.
Let's just pull from that content folder and get something at least up there. And of course, the other thing too is I don't want to slap anything up there. Like I want it to make sense and be relevant too. So
it's still your name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still your name, still your business. I think that's important. The most important advice I can give for that is be yourself. Because I know a lot of people have a perception of what they want to be online, but I think people are kind of over that.
Thank God.
Yeah, at least I think. I know people are watching 8-second videos, and we have a younger generation that is really into content creators and stuff. But I think the ones that show real life are going to be more long-term and successful.
Yeah, that's kind of like one of the pillars of like this podcast too, is to like let's just be real. Like, let's just talk about it for real, because we're not going to really help anyone if we're not giving genuine advice from genuine experience, and we're just kind of going off this facade that we've created for ourselves. And so it's kind of like the whole point of even just this podcast is, at the end of the day, we're people with creative minds who have a passion for whatever creative outlet we've chosen. And it's not always rainbows and butterflies, but it is a whole heck of a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
And sometimes making content is part of that.
Yeah. But I think that is good. Like the realism, right? Like, let's talk about the frustrations. Like I would love to get women together and be like, why do you hate it? And if you're tired, let's shift, maybe making it earlier in the morning or finding an app that helps you stick in your videos and it creates it for you.
Yeah.
What resources do you need? And I think a problem with social media is people like to roll out like social media packages and follow this analytic, but it is really individualized per person and per company, I think, for what they're going to showcase, how often you're going to post, what you're going to post.
And how do you feel about, so just from personal experience and being in business for so long, the vision I had when I started versus where I'm at today and the vision I have for tomorrow isn't always the same, because I've grown as a person, I've grown as an artist, I've grown as a business owner. And so that vision has changed. So what would you say about someone who's like, well, I built my content up this way, but I'm not really feeling that direction anymore? Like, do they need to delete it and start over? Or is there a way to like, do you just slap it out there and be like, okay, no, my colors now are this? And
for me personally, don't delete it, right? Like that's part of your journey and your story. And I always tell people, I think a good time for a change is when you find that you're getting bored of posting it. I don't want to create this anymore. It's more of like a have to instead of I want to. And then if there's something else where you're like, I like this color better, or you would feel more excited, then make the change. Because your viewers are going to notice that you're more excited and you're showing up more and that you love your space. Rather than just creating the same old content.
I say that all the time to like students or like new beauticians that are just kind of asking for advice, or even my girls who work here, where it's like the overall experience is so important, and that experience doesn't just start and stop when they're here with you. Like it's part of what you're putting out there for them to see. And like, what if it's a new client? Like they're going to surf through all your social media to kind of get a general feel. Or am I going to be comfortable here? Do I think I'm going to vibe with this person? But I guess that kind of falls into, would you call it like branding? How you set up your social media?
Yes, branding's kind of like the word content, right? Nobody likes it. But yes, I think it's important how you market yourself and then deciding what kind of community do I want to create online? Like what kind of people am I trying to attract? But yeah, it's really important to have a logo that you're proud of, a color scheme that you're proud of, a space that you're excited to be in.
Yeah.
Because like you said, if you don't want to, it's going to make the world of a difference. And I don't think that's any different with like a marketing package. But I have had a lot of people tell me, I want to change my Instagram name and I want to rebrand, but I'm scared, or I don't want to lose. People aren't going to be able to find me.
Yeah.
Your people will find you and new people will find you. Personally, I don't really get the stigma around the Instagram names. I think it's important for people to realize that's still a digital world. It's not real life.
Yeah.
And that's not your name, and it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I know it's silly, but for a lot of people have that stress around their social media presence.
Mm-hmm.
But remember that it's not real life.
Yeah.
And it's okay
Yeah.
to like have bloopers and mess up and be silly.
Yeah.
And when you're going particularly for a lash artist or a beauty service, somebody that you're going to be seeing regularly,
Mm-hmm.
I think people more want to see the personality.
Yeah.
Whereas equally as the work,
Yeah.
right? You want them to be well educated and have beautiful work, but you want to be able to be comfortable around them too.
Yeah, like who are they? Like if I'm going to be laying there with my eyes shut for a couple hours, like who is this person behind me?
I'm going to fall asleep.
Sharp little tweezers in my face and touching me. And yeah, definitely got to have that. This is me feel.
Yeah, and the beauty realm is kind of special in that way, I think. Like to be hands-on and helping women with their confidence. Mm-hmm. They want to be confident in you. You don't have to be in front of the camera if you don't want to. Maybe just start with your work or some visual creations. But it is good for you to be in front of the camera and your audience to get to know you.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't want to share a picture. I don't want to be in a video. But then also, like, I got to show up. I can't just be a mysterious figure at some point.
No, I completely understand. I think the other challenge is for business owners is social media is usually an escape. Like it's free time. Like let me just browse. And now it's work. Yeah. So balancing work and fun can be really hard.
Is it super important to have that, I guess, back on topic of like a branding thing? Like, is it super important, in your opinion, to have that color scheme kind of pre-planned out before you start building your content? Or do you feel like it's not? Because sometimes I'll go to business pages and it's like the same color scheme for all of their content and everything just looks so clean and perfectly put together. And then you go to mine where it's like, hey, today we've got some color. Sometimes we're outside. Sometimes, like, is it super important, do you think?
I relate to that super well, actually, because photographers are very similar. Like you'll go through and you'll see that they have really cohesive edits and their profile kind of matches, where I kind of like to take everything by individual sessions. So my stuff is all wild and all over the place. But I like that better, I think. And there'll be clients that like one or the other, right? But I think that goes back to the realism and showing the person behind the business. I do think it's important to have some cohesiveness in the content that you're putting out. Like, is it educational? Is it me? What is the purpose of me posting this?
I struggle with that because I feel like because I do so much that it's like I struggle with, does this even make sense what I'm posting? Because I like it, but if somebody sees this, does it make sense with everything else? If you go to my page, are you going to be like, oh, this is all one person, or oh no, this is multiple people doing multiple things? Because again, I feel like I have multiple personalities. So I struggle with that, you know, because I do educational stuff, and then I do this podcast, and then I do lashes, but I also do permanent makeup, but I also do hair piercing, but I also I have a brand. Like there's all these things. So
I think you are doing a wonderful job at running all the chaos. Oh my goodness. Again, to each their own. I know some people that do like to have an Instagram for each business page. How effective are they? Like, are you showing up on each page every day? Or are you?
No, I'm not.
So just take that into consideration.
You as the photographer, is it difficult if somebody comes to you and they're like, oh, I've already got this color scheme. I've already got kind of this mood that I'm sticking with. Like, do you like having that kind of structure, or do you prefer when somebody's like, I've got an idea, but like, let's build something together?
Yeah, if it's content and business based, I do appreciate them having some kind of basis for me because that's their baby.
Right.
Like a lot of the time, if it's a business shoot, please bring in a color scheme. If you need help, though, I'm happy to help. But I try to be respectful of businesses are really another baby. You invest so much into it. You're here just as much as you are at home. For individual like fashion shoots, I'll always ask if they took a look at my work. Because if you're looking for something very like beige and creamy, you're going to quickly go, she is not my girl. But if you want something bright and colorful, more lighthearted, I enjoy that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's important. Where I'm struggling right now is telling clients no.
Yeah.
That's a hard one.
Mm-hmm.
So if I have a client call and having to say those words, maybe I'm not the best photographer for you.
Yeah.
It's hard, but it comes from a good place. I may not be able to execute this vision.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think probably with any artist in any industry, especially the first couple years, yeah, being able to tell someone no, like respectfully, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's hard because when it's like you want to experience all the things and all the people, and you want to see if you can really push yourself to create what they're asking, but at the same time, you don't want to disappoint them if you can't create it. And yeah, I think that's just kind of like, that's like across the board, I feel like.
And when you're new, I think you want to do it all.
Yeah.
You just want to give it all a shot.
Yeah.
So it was really hard for me to put myself in a box, but it was beneficial for me to really navigate to what do I really want to do?
What do you really want to do?
Yeah, isn't that a fun question? What do you really want to do?
I know. And it's like, again, it kind of goes back to like, well, what I thought I wanted, 20 years ago. Is that really what I want now? Like,
It's an intense question.
It's a real deep question.
Even for me, like I would love to say photography is the purpose, but I think it's more of, I like the community that it's brought. I think I was always searching for a community and how to build a positive space. I was really lucky that going behind the camera created that for me. But even on the way over here, I was like, what was the purpose of starting all this madness? Why did we pick up the camera? And I think the community was really a huge part.
Yeah. So. Well, and I think you're doing a really good job at showcasing that sense of community too, because of all the different beauticians you've worked with and all the different small businesses. Like what I get from your work is that at the very base, you're working with people who love what they do and who all they want to do is like share that joy, like welcome other people to experience that joy too. So I think you're doing a really good job at that, especially, it's just your first year. You're doing so good.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's been so fun watching you grow.
The fun part about my page is everyone that's on there has hired me to come out and shoot their business, right? So they're really invested in their business. Like they're not just doing it for fun. If you're investing in photography and all the extra things.
Yeah, because photography is not cheap.
Yeah.
No. That's a big one.
And just modeling in general. A lot of the live action shoots involve my clients having their model ready. So sourcing a model, scheduling them, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a lot on the client's end too. So highlighting them on my page is really important to me. And creating a good community.
Yeah.
However.
However. Hold on.
I will say a little bit. Yeah. I am also very quick, negative comments, negative vibes, very quick to delete and block without any shame. And I know that's hard for a lot of people because perception, right? Like people are perceiving me this way, but it's more of like a protection of my community and like the people that do have good vibes, because nobody's here. You can go to Reddit or whatever negative space for your negative comments.
I'm sure you'll find some fun stuff on Yelp.
But looking at your social media as your community, and it's okay to be protective over it.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. It's so easy for sad people to go online and try and make other people sad. Yeah, if you can just delete it. Like, don't give it any energy.
No energy. That's the best part.
Energy. Save that energy for someone who's going to reciprocate in a positive way.
Yes. And of course, we all have those moments. We all have moments. But it's okay just to, like, breathe and move on. Like, it's okay if a comment frustrates you. Yeah. But just step away.
Oh, there's so many times I'm like, oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? And then I send it.
I'm the same way. You start it and you're like, I'm just going to delete that.
You know what? Or I'll go to my notes and be like, this is what I would say if I was going to respond.
That's smart.
And like, so I just get it out at least, and then.
Like, what is this angry note from the other day?
It's all memories pop up. No, don't give it energy. Just delete it and get it out of there. Yeah. What kind of advice would you give to somebody who is wanting to do a content shoot or new headshots, or what kind of advice to like prep for that, or things they should think about?
Absolutely. Well, like with anything, research your photographer. Find who's best for you depending on what you're looking for, what kind of mood you want.
Because I will say, photographers are just as much an artist as we are. So just like we like to say, make sure the artist you're going with is providing the results. So don't maybe necessarily expect an artist to do something outside. So I just want to put that out there. Photographers, they are also artists, creative minds that work the same way.
Yes, appreciate that.
Yes.
Absolutely. There's somebody for everybody. I think Fresno has a great photography community where you are covered in every direction, and you will find the right fit. I think check out their social media, create a vision that you're excited about. Don't just show up and go, I'm going to get some Macy's photos done. Send a picture of your outfit to your photographer. Show them what you're wearing, what your vision is. At least I enjoy that stuff. Talk about props. Really take advantage of the consult call and be excited. Because I think the best part is once you're done, because modeling is a lot of work. Once you're done, you have content to post if that's something you're looking for. But you also have stuff for your website, for flyers, for branding. They can be really beneficial.
Should the mindset of like, if I'm going to set up a photo shoot specifically for my website, is that kind of a different mindset than like I'm setting up a photo shoot for content on my social media?
Yes, and you can always kind of do both in one. You can extend the session, but I think it's important to get videos, of course, for social media, and you have to get some kind of video
loves a reel.
Content. Gotta get the reels out there. Having websites are really important to me because a lot of work goes into them. I'm sure you know.
I agree.
And having good, clean, but again, not wanting that Macy's photo. Like, I'm really about like wanting something spunky and fun. Like, do you want a disco ball? Do you want to light something on fire? Let's figure it out.
I know who likes fire, Jillian, if you ever watched this episode.
Ooh.
A little pyro.
Yeah, absolutely. But fun stuff like that. So I would say create a vision that excites you. Like, know what you want before you reach out to your photographer instead of being like, I think I want to do a photo shoot.
Yeah.
Because it's going to benefit you more.
Now, what about shoots where it requires like your lash artist or hairstylist to have a model? Is there any advice on like how to prep a model, an artist's model?
Yes, how to prep the artist to prep their model.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yes, you know, most of you ladies have been in this industry a long time and know, but I think finding just a reliable client and then somebody that fits your aesthetic, because they are people and we love them all, but this is your business and you want to have what kind of vibe you want. I have estheticians that want to shoot in more low light and have a moody dark vibe, and estheticians that want things to be bright. So just think, do you want skin that's showing blemishes? Because sometimes that's good. I love to see the blemishes. Let's see the healing of the skin. Let's see the realness. Do you want a flawless texture? So there is something just to think about. What do you want in your model? How long are they available to stay?
Right.
Are they a long-term client, or are they going to post on somebody else's lash content in a couple weeks?
Right.
And if they are, how do you feel about that? Because some people don't mind.
About that, yeah. Because what if my lash model is my lash model, but the next week she goes and she's a lash model for someone else?
Right. So I always recommend it being somebody that's been with you for a while, that has loyalty and that you can rely on, so that you don't have a cancellation that day and you're like, dang.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be a bummer. For most of my client shoots have all been actual clients. There's only one time, and it was for my lash brand that we like hired talent to come be in. But she was amazing. She did all the things. She was great. Nice. We love her. We love you, Mena. Yeah, so she was great. But I've definitely been on shoots where the artist talent didn't show up, and it was like,
what do you do?
Everyone else is here. Like, now what?
Yeah.
Would you recommend having like a plan B, C?
Always a plan
just
B.
In case.
Yeah. And know your photographer's cancellation and reschedule policy. That's really good. And then know, can you swerve and just do action shots independently? Can you do, your product shots and all the fun stuff? I'm always happy to work with people. I think the thing about the business industry is realizing that real life happens.
Yeah.
A lot of the times people have to pick up their kids, or it's mom and business owner and worlds collide.
Yeah.
But there's also professionalism behind it. So I think just knowing your photographer's policies is really helpful.
Yeah.
So make sure they have a contract. I didn't know that was a thing. It's like
I remember talking to you about contracts.
Yes. Yeah. Those are the things I feel like sometimes can be afterthoughts. Like starting a business is really fun, especially when it's something like photography that can really be a one woman or man show, but you have to protect yourself.
Yeah.
And consider all the like legal routes too.
Yeah.
So,
which is a scary thing, but yeah, even just in the beauty industry with our
I
consent
bet.
forms and all of that, it's like, oh my gosh, certain words can't be used in contracts, and like the word deposit. Did you know deposits? Did I tell you about this?
I don't know.
In California,
do they think
like
they go back?
Deposits have to be refundable. If you say it's a deposit in your contract in California, and this is from my attorney.
We love California.
Yeah, that if you call it a deposit, and services were not rendered, doesn't matter why, you have to refund it. There is no such thing as a non-refundable deposit in California. It could be a booking fee, a retainer fee. You can call it that and make it non-refundable. But a deposit,
I cannot tell you how many people are going to listen to this and run to update their
I
contract.
hope so. And there's been times where like I'll be on social media and I'll see somebody post, like, this is how you book me, and then it says, oh, non-refundable deposit. I will have never met them in my life, and I will reach out. I am that person.
No, that's
But
helpful.
I will reach out and be like, hey, like I'm not trying to tell you how to run your business. I just want you to know. I know. Do what you will.
Right.
But I'm that person who will see it and be like, oh God.
No, that's good.
Maybe
to
they
know.
don't know that. So I'll reach out and just be like,
yeah.
Hey, FYI, like
I didn't know. I'm sure I need to update a couple lines in my contract.
Switch it to like booking fee or retainer fee, like, because then you can protect yourself from having to give back. So even it doesn't can call you 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 seconds before and be like, just kidding, I'm not coming.
I want my deposit.
I want my deposit back. And then yeah. I mean, they'd have to want to legally pursue you for that,
right?
But
they can.
They could.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Wow. I think with the word deposit, you're thinking, let me just make things easily understandable for the client.
Yeah.
But wow.
Yeah. So that's something I learned way long time ago when I was doing bridal work, doing bridal contracts.
And that's hard from the other end. Like somebody that's only had a business for a year, it took me a long time to be confident in like setting deposits and pricing.
Yeah.
So for that's wild, because I can't imagine being in that scenario. You would never. Yeah. And you can't just unfortunately live on the hope that everyone's a good soul. So
I know. It's a weird world, but
good to know.
Be careful.
No, please share all those things. Kelly, this is what I'm saying. Your brain. This is why you have a podcast.
Just to share things, that's all. Little tidbits of information here and there. Is there anything specific you want to bring up that we haven't already?
I think the biggest things for me are just the balance that we talked about, and then escapism versus reality, which we touched on already. But I'm not on TikTok, so that's a lot of people are on TikTok, but I drew my boundary there.
I have TikTok accounts, but like, do I regularly? No, I like to scroll more on TikTok than really worry about posting stuff there.
Yeah, so just be yourself. If I could give anybody anything, I feel like that's what I'm really pushing for right now. Because I get a lot of questions of like, how or why do you do this? I'm like, because I'm crazy. I'm like, it just is what it is. But once you find stuff that excites you and you like it too.
I think it's intimidating to be yourself on social media because you are opening yourself up to all of that online criticism, which, as we all know, isn't always very nice or very friendly or very positive. So I think it's easier to have this persona or this version of you that you do.
And don't get me wrong, I have my days too, where like I don't want to show up, or it seems very judgmental, or I thought this person was supportive, and like finding out that they're not.
Yeah.
But that's part of life.
Yeah.
And I have my husband, who is not on social media, is really good at reminding me of reality, right? But absolutely. I do think there are a lot of apps. That is something I would like to touch on.
Ooh, yeah.
If there are anybody out there that's really struggling with just keeping up, there are scheduling apps. So feel free to schedule things. There are also apps that you can stick videos in and will help you make it. Canva is one of my favorite creation tools.
Yeah.
If anybody needs help, please don't hesitate to reach out to me on Instagram.
So are these apps things that you can like schedule to post for you, or are they apps that kind of like remind you to post certain things?
Yeah, so there's one called Hootsuite.
Hootsuite?
Hootsuite, like a little owl.
I
Hootsuite.
love owls.
Yeah.
Hootsuite.
It's called Hootsuite, and it's something you can hook all of your social media platforms up to, and you can schedule content for up to the month if you want to. And it'll post them across all of your socials: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. If you'd like
LinkedIn,
to.
do you do a lot of content stuff for LinkedIn? Because I am hearing more and more like people talk about utilizing LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And I'm old, so for me, LinkedIn is like,
old, right?
Yeah, it's like that's where you go to put your resume, find a job. Like, are we really using LinkedIn as like a social thing now?
I don't think so. So personally, I have used LinkedIn since I was out of high school, but for the professional realm, and that's really what I utilize it for now, is my 9 to 5. I did create a content page on there, kind of to see how it went. I don't think it's beneficial personally, unless you're really trying to snag businesses as a large marketing company or source clients like that. For a local, like, small business, I didn't find LinkedIn beneficial.
I recently heard, I won't say what podcast it was, but they were all about utilizing LinkedIn to promote your small business, and you'll love this part. For a small fee, you can purchase my how-to utilize LinkedIn. And when I heard that, I was like, oh man, I don't think I'm going to listen to you anymore. That felt cheesy. Yeah. So we're not using LinkedIn as a social outlet.
No.
I couldn't do another one.
No more. You have to think everyone that has a LinkedIn probably has an Instagram or a Facebook.
Right.
Yeah, they're reachable somewhere else.
Facebook. I feel like I'm only ever really on there for like particular groups that I'm in for whatever.
Yeah.
But it's actually, I don't do a whole lot of Facebook anymore, which is wild because it was like the platform for so long.
Some people have a lot of success with it still. Yeah. I have not. I just auto upload anything that is to Instagram, auto flows to my Facebook.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much how mine is set up too. It just automatically goes.
Yes, I'm actually really bad about my engagement on Facebook, so trying to be better about that. Engagement is another thing that's really important that I know people don't want to hear.
How do you get people to engage?
Not just your audience engagement, but your engagement as the creator. Like, a lot of people, and I am guilty of this, was really bad at posting my video, putting my phone down, moving on to my other to-do list. And I started noticing a decrease in viewings and comments and everything else. So when I take the time to really engage with my followers after I post something, I'll notice that Instagram is posting my content more to the top.
Interesting. Yeah. So it's a way for Instagram to keep you. The app, isn't it? We see you, Instagram.
All kinds of tips and tricks.
We see you.
I am going to be working on like a content package, but I'm going to kind of keep it generalized because everyone is different.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of tips and tricks like that I think could be beneficial. There's some things that I show people and they're like, oh, I didn't know that. And I'm like, and it's like, I don't know if you don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know.
Instagram does have a lot of like little features that they add on all the time. But then they also take features away.
Yes, they do.
It's like, wait, I just learned how to use that. I know it's gone.
That can be a bummer. But just knowing how to use like your saved files and label them and organize them, how to find trending audio, all those little things.
Trending audio.
Yeah. Do you know how to find trending audio?
Has to have the arrow.
Yeah.
She's probably not.
Has to have the arrow.
But now it doesn't have the arrow. I'm like,
And what's funny is I think Loretta May Photo taught me that before I started photography.
Well, isn't it like not only the arrow, but don't you want it to have like a lower view count too? Otherwise you get lost in that mix, right?
Yeah. So if an audio is trending but it has 50,000 views, you're one of 50,000. But if it only has one of 1,200, which is a good space to catch, that's a good sweet spot. It's annoying.
Just hire Kat, okay? Just hire Kat, and then you don't have to know those things because she will know them for you.
Yes. A fun thing I am getting ready to roll out, I actually have my first one this Friday with another photographer, is Content Coffee. So it's just like a $75 package where you'll get that content package that I'm creating, and then we can hang out and talk about all your frustrations and figure out a game plan that feels like would be beneficial.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited because it's with another photographer. She specializes in maternity and baby stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, but she's newer. She started around the same time I did, and she's starting to dabble in everything, which makes me really excited for her. But I'm sure, as you can imagine, running content for that is chaotic.
Yeah.
But just like any community, it's really nice to find photographers that are good vibes and collaborative. So.
Yeah, collabs are. I feel like that collabs are. They're important, but they're so fun. It's such a good way to get like your creativeness flowing. Like, I feel like when I'm in a mental block, it helps so much when I can sit down and talk to my sister's a tattoo artist, one of their girls here, lash artist, hairstylist, or pick the brain of a photographer friend. I feel like it helps just to
get the creative juices flowing again.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's like I put up my own roadblocks.
It's nice to have somebody that understands, because as much as I love my husband, sometimes he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So, yeah, especially when I come home with like all the fashion and the beauty and the girly stuff. And he's like, if you're excited about it, then
I'm happy you're happy, babe. Yeah, my husband's in construction, so two very different worlds. But I mean, when it comes into like the business running part and like dealing with clients and like that actually can relate, but
I bet
the actual work itself, like I come home after 7 clients, I'm exhausted. He's like, I have been lifting rocks all day. I built a house today. Like, he's like, what are you tired for?
You know what? Have him come do lashes for a day. I would love to see
Oh my God, his big old hands and my little tweezers. That would be hilarious. We might have a new challenge. Have your partner do your job day. That would be so funny.
I would actually love to just hand Sean my camera and be like, let me see what you come back with.
Oh, man.
Show me how that white balance goes.
I'm trying to picture me like he's installing flooring today. Like me, I would be like,
okay,
I'm sick.
We would have a girls' day really fast because Sean's a truck driver.
I'm like, who do I call to do this for me?
You guys do not want me driving a semi, so.
Oh my gosh! Imagine you just.
No, I don't think I can see over the steering wheel of a semi.
That would be a really funny challenge. Career swap day. I like it.
That would be fun.
I like it.
I don't think they'd agree as much.
No, probably not. They're probably rolling their eyes right now, not knowing why. They probably just know we're talking about them, and they're rolling their eyes. That's right. That's right. Do you have any other advice that you would like to share as far as what type of, I guess, content, but what type of photos to even take?
If you're a business owner, again, thinking about what is the purpose. So if you're trying to show your work, thinking, am I going to want to post this in a story or a post? And the reason that's important is because of that angle and like having that black space up top on the stories.
Yeah.
So something that's been happening recently is when people put the sideway photos in reels and stuff, people are screenshotting it and then they can post, like type their information above the sideway photos. So if you're going to post something, it's really good to have it long ways, unless it's going to be a post. Another thing right now is lighting, of course, is a huge one. I know we think flipping on some lights is good. I can get pretty good pictures from my phone too, if you have the right lighting. And then work with what you have. Like if you can't afford me or a photographer, message me and ask, what can I do from my phone? Or ask Google or ChatGPT or whatever resource, because there are so many settings that can improve your camera on your phone that I don't know why Apple doesn't just send your phone like that. But little tips and tricks that can help. Some people prefer turning the HD off or actually going into the settings and upping your pixels. Turning on your grid. The grid on my camera's on, so I can make sure everything's angled. Will be in my content package. But again, I think just don't hesitate to reach out and ask somebody too. Like we're all in this together. I learn a lot of stuff from you too. And just being a community and finding people that are willing to help. And if you don't have anybody, build that community, because there are people out there willing to help.
Do you have anybody that you would like to shout out who you feel like is really good at like that togetherness? Oh my gosh, so many people. Of course, my mentor, I have to, because Loretta May Photos played a huge role in Kat Davison Photography even being here. But back to Selfie Ready, which the fashion show that I had shot. She does a little bit of everything. She owns the boutique. She does makeup, the storefront, social media, content creator.
And I'm just constantly amazed. And she's also a mom. So I do, all of you moms, actually. Sometimes I do get up and I'm like, they got it, they're doing it, we can do it. Because I'm amazed by you, truly. Like, I'm tired at the end of the day. I work 2 jobs, I have no kids, and just working a job and having kids is adding on a whole nother duty.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So all of you ladies with businesses and children absolutely would like to shout you out. Loretta May Photo, absolutely. And then I've had just a ton of influential ladies along the way. We could go through my Instagram forever.
Just scroll through the page, you'll find them.
Yeah, I think it's just important to build the positive community, and I really, really, really can't stress that enough.
I think, too, you'd be a good one to ask this question.
Oh, boy. Okay.
So you have your 9 to 5.
Yes.
And the photography thing is your part-time side business. How do you juggle the two? And do you plan on making photography more of a full-time space?
Okay.
Because there's a lot of people in the beauty industry who start off that way.
Yeah.
With, because again, I think it's, sorry, a little fuzzy there. I feel like it doesn't matter what industry, and when you've got that dependable 9 to 5, you get your benefits, you get a paycheck, you've got hours no matter how much workload they have for you.
Right.
Like, working that down to go into the unknown of being your own boss and having your is scary.
It is very scary.
So I would love to hear, it's been a long time since I've been employed by someone else, so I would love to hear your thoughts on all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like, the balance, are we talking mentally or physically?
All of the above.
Yeah, I'm in a unique position. It is a 9 to 5, but I am remote, and those 9 to 5 hours are never really 9 to 5. I work for a cancer lab that is based out of Greece. If anybody is looking for cancer testing or treatments, it's called RGCC.
Wow.
They have great success rates. I'm very proud to be part of the team.
That is so cool.
And that's where it makes it hard thinking about photography being full-time.
Because you love what you're doing with this 9 to 5. It's not just a 9 to 5.
It is a lot. It's definitely stressful. I would love to focus on photography full-time, but there is something about having an impact in the cancer community that
is special too.
It is special.
Yeah.
I don't know. I truly don't know. People ask me every day, and I'm like, I don't know what the future holds.
Do you feel like you found a good balance right now with maintaining the 9 to 5 and then having fun with your photography?
Someday, in an ideal world, I would probably work 4 days a week, photography 3 days a week.
Yeah.
Right now, I would love to be behind the camera more than I am.
Mm-hmm.
But I try. I will shoot at 6 o'clock in the morning if somebody wants a morning shoot before I clock into work, and run over on my lunch after hours.
It's hard when you love
it is hard.
multiple things.
Yeah. I think one thing that's been a new challenge for me is I'm recently married, which has been nice. But it's finding that balance of giving my husband his time,
right?
Being at home and being present.
Yeah.
Especially because he's not a content creator and he's not on his phone or on social media. So unplugging and being with him, keeping photography running, and decompressing from the 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Because it's not just business. Like, you have to really make sure you're present for whoever's at home, or yourself, or your spiritual growth, your mental health.
Yeah, our own personal self.
Nobody talks about that third bubble.
Yeah, we're still in here above all of this other stuff. Yeah. Super important. Well, I feel like you're very fortunate to have, to love the 9 to 5, what you're actually doing, and then to have photography also be an equal love.
Yeah.
And I guess it's more of your creative side gets to come out in that realm.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe my 9 to 5 would have drove me nuts if I didn't have the creative space. Because it is together. A lot, but it is a good balance. Just find happiness in the chaos. But again, if you don't want to post on social media, think about putting door hangers on doors. That's my advice. And I really feel bad for the people that don't remember that, because they're going to be like, what the heck are you talking about? But
yeah, or the cold calls, or the
no more cold calling.
The flyers on the windshield, and
even the pizza places. Like, I don't know how they did it, but they'd be shoved in the screen door.
Yeah,
and I'm like, who's coming around?
Yeah, because you never actually see the people doing it. They're just there.
Yeah, before what are those? The ring cameras.
That shed light on all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you so much being here and sharing all this. I think This is just a whole nother side of having a business, is how you market and present it. And sometimes it's a little more than just slapping a photo up there. Sometimes a little bit more thought should go into it. Yeah.
At the same time, don't be afraid to mess up.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Have fun.
Have fun. Be yourself.
Don't be that. It doesn't have to be that serious.
Figure it out.
Yeah. And then hire a cat.
I am here to help. If you're ever at your wit's end, just find me on Instagram.
Well, what's a good way for people to contact you if they want more information, they want to check out your work?
So my Instagram is Kat Davison Photography. You're more than welcome to message me on there. I do have a link in my bio if you'd like to hop on a call with me. It's free to schedule a consult call so we can just kind of chat. Whether you want to book a photo shoot or get a head grab at the content packages. I actually haven't announced those yet on my Instagram. Well,
maybe by the time this comes out on the podcast, it will have been announced. So, otherwise, we're breaking it here.
You know what? I think we'll bring it here. I'll tell them to stay tuned for special news here.
Dun, dun.
So, yeah.
Love it.
So it's exciting.
So now you have to watch every episode because you never know.
Yes.
You might get some insider scoops.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. My first podcast.
First podcast.
Shake off the nerves.
No nerves. No more.
All right. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out this episode of the Cultivate Beauty Podcast. Check out Kat's Instagram. Get the lowdown there. And we'll see you in the next podcast.
Bye.
Ta-da! Look at that.
Did we do it?